De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. mira como llevará mato a su madre mamá. No deje el camino por coger la vereda. El final.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this live stream of Mastering Corona for Cinema 4D. We're preparing this course pretty long time, but it is important to have a clear goal, to have a clear vision, what it will take to master Corona for Cinema 4D. You probably, if you're here, seen this presentation. We'll go briefly through it, and so you can get all the info needed. Hopefully the music is okay. I will just turn down the music, so hopefully now it should be okay. Let me know, guys, if that's the case. Okay, great. It's more important to hear the voice than the music, I guess. Okay, so as I said, we'll go through briefly through this presentation just to give you a sense of what we have here and what will be important in this course. What's the deal with it? It's not like a usual mastering series or tutorials or anything else because of the platform we are using for this. So it will be ever evolving in the next 2 years that are planned for this. So it will be basically a course that will be based on your feedback. We have the structure, the basic structure of it, but the main idea is to listen to the feedback and to adapt the course for everyone to so everyone can learn, can follow along and make better results after spending some time learning Corona through this Mastering Corona series. So we will start. First, welcome everyone if you're just joining, and we will start with this next slide. This, as you all probably already seen, there will be 3 parts, and they will go along with each other. So we won't go like just first go interior for a few months, then go exterior for a few months. No, I will make sure that from start to beginning we do the presentation of all 3 categories on the same time. So it will be hopefully possible, and interior and exteriors will be for sure the main categories. Then we will touch product rendering, but when you follow along interior and exterior, a lot of things will be covered. So we won't go to double the topics. We will most of the time tell what is needed for each of it. So if we go to the next slide, so you can see it's main topic of this conversation that we have now. So why Corona Render and Cinema 4D, and is this mastering course for you. I've been using a lot of renderers out there that are available for Cinema 4D, and for most of them they are doing their job, but we can't say one is good, the other is bad. But we need to know, is it for us? So if you are a motion designer, for example, if you do like commercials, some animations, etc., it will probably be better if you use Octane Render, and it's easier, it's quicker in some points, but you also need to consider that CPUs are getting better and better. So each time new, for example, Threadripper get on the market, we can see now that Threadripper 3 will have over 100 threads, which is pretty crazy, and we couldn't even imagine that a few years ago. So it will be going closer and closer to some GPU renderers, but in the other renderers, there are also new GPUs are coming, so the fight is there, and we know that Corona will always be CPU render, so we need to get idea of that. So if you have great GPUs and not that great CPU, then for sure you don't want to learn Corona render, then you go out and learn Octane render. I've been using both. They're my now two renderers that I use, and there are plus and minuses for each of them. For example, main one is the memory. With GPU, you only can use GPU memory, and there is some out of core memory for sure, but you can't use a lot of, I don't know, 8K textures for close-ups and stuff that we need in interior rendering. So for that purpose, it is better to use Corona render. Also, you need to spend much more time to get a good-looking interior in Octane render, as it's not primarily for architectural visualization. So you will need to better perfect it. There are a lot of settings to tweak, and so on. And Corona is almost right out of the box good for interiors and exteriors, primarily interiors. As you can, you could probably see that inside of Corona, settings, the default settings are for interiors. So that is pretty much it. So if you using Corona and Cinema 4D already for a long time and you are pretty good in it, probably the beginning of this course will not be suitable for you. So it might not be interesting in the first few months when we're going through the basics and explaining some basic concepts of each section, but some of us, me also, when I was learning it, I was skipping some details and everything, so it's good sometimes to come back and hear something that maybe you skipped and you're having problems now because you skipped that at the point. So it's good also to go sometimes through the basics. And of course, if you are using Cinema 4D and if you're here, I guess you are. There are some, I like to say, bad stuff for Corona for Cinema 4D, and because Max version is always one step ahead. So that's a plus for the Max users, but the developers are working great, and daily builds are out there, and hopefully we will in one moment be able to catch and have at the same time the best possible versions of Corona for Cinema 4D. But they're doing great job, and we have used beta, and it was a free version, and we were using it all the time for our commercial stuff, and it was pretty great. So we'll just go into this first section. It's mastering interior renders. I hope you see everything well. Please let me know in the comments. I will wait a few seconds before we continue, so you can tell me if you are seeing clear pictures, so we can continue. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's just text for now. So we're just going to this quickly. We won't read it. You can see it on Patreon, on Facebook, on all the stuff. But I just want to get through this pretty quickly, so you can see what the concept is, not just the topics. So as you can see, we have interior lighting basics and the concept and the types of light and lighting. So first and most important thing, and that we will learn as a base for everything, is lighting. So you're welcome. Glad you like it. I see you're writing there. Thank you for doing this. So you're much welcome, and welcome on board. So when you do the Corona lights well, then you are ready to go to the next step, which is materials. So next part of the mastering series will be materials. And as materials are pretty complex stuff, we will spend more time there. And as the Corona getting better and better, you will see what they are capable of. So let me just try if to delete this stuff from here. Okay, you probably see the line from my camera, but that's fine. And to be good at the materials, you need to know the proper UV mapping. So we will get in touch with that, and it will be also important part. Everyone is trying to avoid it, but trust me, when you get your head around it and you learn how to do it, it will be much easier for you to do the work. And after that, we will jump into the camera, and this is where we will touch a lot of photography. So as it's like a real-time camera, the photography is important factor here. So you can learn photography in 3D. That's not the bad thing, but everyone have our smartphones today. So at that point, we will have some task and some examples how to shoot in the real world. And when we come back to Corona camera, with all the knowledge we will learn for doing the shooting in the real world, it will be much easier for us, and we will have some essential and advanced options, and also the positioning of the camera inside interior and stuff. So that's good to know. If you want to be a great 3D artist, you will need to work on your photography. And you can see the points that I skipped here. I would like to talk about it a little bit more because they are important parts of this Mastering Corona for Cinema 4D series. So as you can see, after each of the segment that we have here, for example, number 7 that we have, if you see my cursor right here, so it will be a live stream Q&A. It will be just like we are doing it now, but private for my Patreons, and where you can ask questions about the parts that we passed. So after lighting part of tutorials, we'll have a lighting live stream Q&A, and you could ask me everything. We can go through the tutorials, through the scene files, through everything until you are clear with the content. We will do it after planned after every section, but if you find that good, we can do a Q&A after each lesson or after a few lessons that we go through, so you can easily track it. So that will be one of the main stuff around here. So hopefully you will get the idea more in clear when we start. The other thing that I want to introduce, and it will be starting the next month, it's a private Facebook group. So what that means, we will have a Facebook group only for the Patreons. I hope everyone here have a Facebook. We tried something like that through Discord and chat before, but Discord is mostly used for the gamers, and people are not used to its interface and stuff. So we will use Facebook this time, and that will be a closed group with only Patreons that we can share ideas, you can share renders, you can get the feedback, we can have a conversation that will be constructive, so we can talk about some aspects of overall 3D and stuff and everything that concerns you at the moment. So there we will also be putting some announcements, some big stuff, some work in progress, so hopefully that will do the work. And beside that, I would like to also let you know that a lot of good content will be on my Instagram, Studio Heisenberg. That will be the place where I will share some quick tips, some stuff that will help overall the 3D community and people to learn without having to pay anything or subscribe to anything. I will share some basic stuff with you, like you could see on some of the previous posts where I wrote some basic specular values for RGB, for metals, and some lighting tips and stuff. So make sure to follow it, and you will for sure get some knowledge there and through this interesting concept on Instagram. The other thing is for sure a YouTube channel. I will do my best beside this Corona Mastering series to put a lot of content for everyone on YouTube, for people that are not on the Patreon, they're not sure what is there, they will have short videos on YouTube, so they can for free and without any obligation see what's the stuff we do, what's the learning process, to learn something to get a good start in Corona and maybe other renderers as well. So that will be one of the stuff that will be important to this, to give a lot of value to 3D community. And if someone wants to learn more, they can follow this mastering interior, exterior, and product photorealistic rendering that we will run. We can go quickly through this exterior rendering, but the concept is the same. We will just learn some specific stuff about each visualization technique. So both exterior and product rendering will have its own stuff, and it will be interesting to see how much of you basically using and doing interiors, exteriors, and product renders. So that is the thing that we will look forward to see. And as I said, the planned course is 2 years. You need to acknowledge that beside this, I will still continue to do some quick tips on Patreon to give you a premium Cinema 4D scenes and material packs as well. And I will introduce also some Octane stuff in here beside this mastering for Cinema 4D series. So I put 2 years here just to have a rough sense of how long we will doing this. So it will be, as I said, ever evolving course, and the beauty of it is it will be on Patreon, where we can communicate. You will not get for around 20 videos on your face, and then you will be left to learn it and to watch it whenever you want, and spend all day to watch it, and then acknowledge that you don't know anything, you just pass through it. This way we will go slowly and steady through everything, and with each video, with each month, you will get your knowledge to the higher level. So that's important. When I said we will prepare you some premium stuff, this is the one I wanted to show you that is in the making. So you can see this scene. I did spend a lot of time researching some interiors of this type. I wanted to do it a long time, but this is now the stuff that we are in the middle of doing it. So I think in the next week I will give you a full scene like this. It will be consistent of nice atmosphere and cozy stuff, and probably the outdoor will be something snowy, and it will be like in some snowy mountains or stuff. So you can see how it is how it's looking now. Beside that, I'm also working on some exterior scene, and I will try to put both exterior and interior as one, so we can have a exterior and interior scene together, so you can jump from one to another just changing camera, and it will be one big interior and exterior that will work seamlessly so you can get a concept of what Corona for Cinema 4D is capable of, and to get a full sense of what we can do. As you can see here, I will just make it a little bit closer. I did the basic details, so it looks more photorealistic, and this scene will probably change in the next days, but I wanted to show you in this live stream that what are we working on and what are we doing. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea, and you get the whole picture about what are we trying to do here. So if you have any questions now for this beginning, please write me down so we can talk more about it. And if you have some tip for me on what would you like to see while we have time, please write it. I will make sure to check that out as soon as you write it, and so we can talk about it. Yeah, Rick, great question. So Rick was asking what is the pricing for the course. It will be on Patreon. It will be available as we had before the scene and tutorial. So it will be a $20 monthly Patreon fee. So I will write it down so if anyone is joining, so they can see. Thank you very much, Eric. Much appreciated. If anyone else has some question while we are here, we will be here for around maybe 5 or 10 minutes before ending this stream, and after that this stream will only be available for a short time here on YouTube, and it will be available for patrons only, so they can see the intro and our small talk that we did here. Thank you, Eric, for joining us, and have a nice day. Okay, so we will finish now with this possible future courses. They may not be after this one finish. It might be when in the middle of it or in few months. We will see what's the timing and if you're interested in it. But I just put here some thoughts that we can make the mastering art quiz animation, which for a lot of users seem pretty complicated, and they don't know when to start. So we will probably make this. And the other part, or the other side of art quiz, is the business. So I've been learning a lot in the last few years about it, and more extensively in the last few months about the business side of ArcViz. So somewhere in the future we will probably have also this. And one of my favorite stuff that's coming in these years is Unreal Engine 4, and in some point of future we will for sure start using Unreal Engine more on the Patreon page, so you can see what can be done with it. So that is one of the stuff that is interesting. Okay, so thank you very much for everyone here watching this, and hopefully this was helpful to you, and I will keep you updated in next days with the first classes. Thank you and peace.